Welcome. Today is Sunday, August 9th, 2026. Coming up this hour, Virtual Beings, Briefing 1. Virtual beings are reshaping industries from advertising and gaming to education and companionship. Virtual Beings, Briefing 2. Virtual beings intersect with commercial platforms and nascent policy frameworks. Virtual Beings, Briefing 3. Virtual being titles are driving new narrative and commercial frontiers across entertainment and brand platforms. And finally, world models and Meta-Anduril briefing. Meta shifts toward superintelligence, while Chinese firms push physical world models and leadership evolves. We begin with marketing and advertising. Virtual influencers are powering a rapidly growing industry, with a contest like the AI Personality of the Year, launched by OpenArt, FanView, and 11 Labs, rewarding synthetic creators who blend storytelling with audience engagement. Brands are using AI-generated characters for endorsements, although this has sparked significant controversy. This incident highlights fundamental issues of authenticity, with legal experts suggesting that a virtual persona claiming first-hand product experience constitutes false advertising, particularly for medical equipment like cosmetic contact lenses. This tension between commercial value and consumer trust is also evident in the launch by actress Kai Wei of a personal AI avatar named Han Qingxia for the Hongguo platform, where the promotional short film faced immediate backlash for suggestive camera angles and an inappropriately revealing costume, raising concerns about the sexualization and commercialization of artists' images without their control. Next, enterprise and work. Ginemines, in partnership with Everpure, hosted an executive customer event titled Data to Decision, where Sonu B. Singh, Chief Product Officer of Gineris, presented on Digital Human, Intelligence in Motion, offering a look at how intelligent, human-like interfaces are shaping enterprise experiences. In a related development, recruiters are encountering an uncanny new type of candidate, AI avatars that mirror an applicant's voice and likeness and are being used in first-round video interviews. Sydney-based recruiter Lana Kursanava reported disqualifying 3 candidates in 6 months after realizing an avatar was delivering overly polished answers, a behavior often used by non-native speakers to cover a gap in language proficiency. This has led to an escalating AI-on-AI war, as employers increasingly use AI to screen candidates in their applicant tracking systems, prompting a retreat to mandatory in-person stages by companies like Google and McKinsey, and a warning from Gartner that by 2028, 1 in 4 job candidate profiles globally will be fake. In entertainment and media news, the Korean virtual boy band, PLAVE, managed by Vlast using real-time Unreal Engine 5 and motion capture, made history as the first non-Japanese act to headline YouTube Music Weekend 12. PLAVE's third mini-album, Caligo PT. 1, became the first virtual idol release to sell 1 million copies in its debut week. Taking a different creative approach, the virtual reality production, Uncanny Alley, A New Day, from Pheromone Collective and Virtual Worlds Company, is redefining live entertainment by making audiences into active participants, taking on roles like escaped detainees alongside live performers in an interactive cyberpunk narrative built in Unity and performed inside VR chat. Now gaming. Snail Games discuss the development of EgoFold's non-human players, AI companions designed to fundamentally change multiplayer gaming by perceiving, understanding, communicating, and playing alongside human users across multiple genres like strategy, shooter, and survival titles. These companions are designed to combine perception, reasoning, memory, and learning to make games more personal, helping new players learn and filling cooperative teams when human players are unavailable. Separately, the upcoming MMORPG, Zeus, God of Arrogance, published by ComTUS, will feature an AI-driven persona system where player avatars can continue activities offline, with an AI mode for grinding and other content strictly requiring manual control. Turning to companionship, toys, and consumer hardware. Umisfun's emotional AI companion is built around adaptive personality and context memory for long-term companionship on a desk or nightstand. The AIP Lite AI robot, using an ESP32S3 chip, allows users to build multiple AI personalities, each with its own voice and memory, displaying animated expressions which make AI tangible and expressive. The Energized Lab Ilico is a palm-sized emotional charm robot with customizable shells that cycles through animated expressions based on touch and interaction. For children, the Havervy Bubble Pal is a portable clip-on device that gives new life to old plush toys by turning them into a smart AI companion for storytelling, role-playing, and science Q&A. OpenAI's first consumer hardware device is reportedly a $300 to $400 screenless, donut-shaped smart speaker designed by Joni Ives' Love From Studio, built with moving mechanical parts to make interactions feel more alive, and designed to serve as a voice-first AI companion that learns about its user. And finally, education and ethical contexts. A common concern arose with virtual characters' potential impact on youth. New York State Senators Shelley Mayer, Kristen Gonzalez, and Rachel may introduce legislation to prohibit the use of AI-enabled humanoid robots in instructional capacities, arguing they can be confusing for children who need to build relationships with qualified educators. A related proposal in the Assembly would further ban virtual assistants from serving as primary instructors and prohibit the collection of biometric data from students. In a separate case, a high school in Salamanca planned a pilot project with a humanoid robot from Realbotix to support its STEAM program, but the plan was put on hold after parents raised concerns. These legislative and community actions reflect growing anxiety about the emotional and developmental risks of humanoid and anthropomorphic AI for the next generation. We begin with products and vendors. User on the HeyGen community forum inquired about controlling the speaking pace for avatars in the Cdance 2.5 multi-avatar 30-second video generation feature, which suggests ongoing user experimentation with HeyGen's multi-avatar video synthesis capabilities. Another post on the same forum asked about the HeyGen Ambassador program, specifically whether anyone had received the complimentary 6-month creator plan and what perks ambassadors receive, which include 5,000 generative credits and a complimentary 6-month creator plan trial. Tutorial was shared on the Convai developer forum demonstrating how to use AI coding agents like Codex or Claude Code to integrate Convai's conversational AI into Unreal Engine 5.8, enabling developers to prompt agents to connect a Convai AI mind to an avatar, enable lip sync and facial animation, trigger actions, and write custom gameplay behavior, including a minigame where an AI character monitors player progress and reacts upon task completion. And finally, governance and policy. MLEX reported that Japan is betting that its court-developed personality rights can govern AI voice and likeness cloning, deliberately avoiding the creation of a dedicated synthetic identity law. This approach leaves unresolved questions around commercial control and liability, even as generative AI enables famous voices to be reproduced for almost any purpose. The report notes that in Japan, a famous voice can be as valuable as a famous face, and the existing publicity and portrait rights framework developed by courts long before synthetic performers existed is now being tested by AI clones. Virtual influencers. The field of virtual influencer research is coalescing around systematic understandings of their cultural role and marketing efficacy. A systematic review by Zafar, Virtual Influencer and User Engagement, a systematic review and future research agenda, consolidates the drivers of user engagement with these digital personas, mapping the mechanisms that sustain parasocial bonds and consumer interaction. Complementing this marketing-centric view, Casello Martinez delivers Virtual Influencers as Visual Culture Artifacts, a PISMA 2020 systematic review, reframing them as objects of visual culture whose semiotic and aesthetic dimensions deserve scrutiny beyond commercial metrics. A further review, From Digital Personas to Human Connections, Advancing Human-Centric Marketing Through Virtual Influencers. Kumar, 2025. explicitly argues for a pivot toward human-centric marketing strategies that leverage virtual influencers to forge authentic-seeming consumer relationships. In a more expansive theoretical treatment, the synthetic persona, exploring the marketing prospects, no author or year available as a book chapter, investigates the broader category of synthetic personas as novel marketing instruments, situating virtual influencers within a landscape of artificial commercial identities. Two empirical studies extend this work into specific consequence domains. From algorithms to action, the power of AI influencers and customer AI literacy in driving purchase intention. Gao, 2025, demonstrates how consumers' AI literacy moderates the persuasive power of AI-driven influencers on purchase behavior. Demystifying the impact of homophily on continued use intention of AI avatar, assisted shopping. Length of shopping experience as a moderator. Lin, 2025, examines AI avatar shopping assistance, showing that perceived similarity drives continued use, particularly among less experienced shoppers. Study on TikTok, the influence of AI avatar content by TikTok affiliators on fashion product purchase intention. The sequential mediating roles of authenticity perception, and Anjani, 2025, traces how AI avatar-mediated affiliate content shapes authenticity judgments and downstream purchase intent in fashion e-commerce. VTubers and virtual streamers. The ontology and social dynamics of VTubing receive sustained attention. Whom do we desire? Distributed embodiment, distributed objects of desire, and reclassification in VTubing. Liu, 2025, tackles the philosophical puzzle of desire when both performer and persona are distributed across human and avatar, proposing a reclassification of the erotic and social attachments that VTubing generates. Complementary empirical contribution, virtual streamers' social presence, and consumer engagement in live streaming social commerce. Immersive experience as a mediator. Zai, 2025, demonstrates that virtual streamers' capacity to project social presence enhances consumer engagement in social commerce, with immersive experience serving as the mediating mechanism. Digital humans. The intersection of digital human representation and historical or sacred personae is addressed in the AI XR Martin Luther avatar, an experiment with theological, ethical, and technological implication. No author or year available as a book chapter, which constructs an extended reality avatar of Martin Luther to probe the theological and ethical limits of resurrecting authoritative historical figures as interactive digital humans. Virtual beings, a conceptual intervention of direct relevance, is servant or partner. Effect of time scarcity on AI role preference and its psychological mechanism of task self-efficacy. Zhao, 2025. By investigating whether users prefer AI entities to adopt a servant or partner role under time pressure, the study illuminates the relational framing that governs human interaction with agentic virtual beings, with implications for designing persona-bearing systems across contexts. Mixed reality humans. No results directly centered on mixed reality human performers, XR actors, or live mixed reality embodiment of virtual characters were retained. Digital humans. No Chinese language papers centrally addressing were retained from today's corpus. We begin with titles mentioned. Virtual influencer and user engagement. A systematic review and future research agenda, Zafar, 2025. Virtual influencers as visual culture artifacts. A PRSMA 2020 systematic review, Casello Martinez, 2025. From digital personas to human connections, advancing human-centric marketing through virtual influencers, Kumar, 2025. The synthetic persona. Exploring the marketing prospects, from algorithms to action. The power of AI influencers and customer AI literacy in driving purchase intention. Gao, 2025. Demystifying the impact of homophily on continued use intention of AI avatar, assisted shopping. Length of shopping experience as a moderator. Lin, 2025. The influence of AI avatar content by TikTok affiliators on fashion product purchase intention. The sequential mediating roles of authenticity perception and Anjani, 2025. Whom do we desire? Distributed embodiment, distributed objects of desire, and reclassification in VTubing. Liu, 2025. Virtual streamers' social presence and consumer engagement in live streaming social commerce. Immersive experience as a mediator. Zai, 2025. The AI XR Martin Luther avatar. An experiment with theological, ethical, and technological implication, servant or partner. Effect of time scarcity on AI role preference and its psychological mechanism of task self-efficacy. Zhao, 2025. We begin with Meta Superintelligence Labs and the Generative AI product push. Every product front at Meta is now wired into Meta Superintelligence Labs. The company's Q2 earnings call in July 2026 made that explicit. Mark Zuckerberg pointed to recent shipping from MSL, Muse Spark 1.1, and Muse Image, and reported that after rebuilding Meta AI atop Muse Spark, daily interactions with the assistant jumped 60% and are still climbing week over week. Muse Spark 1.1 itself was characterized as a strong agentic encoding model, efficient and built for computer use, tool use, and multimodal understanding, and it is now available through Meta's public API, with expanded distribution via partner channels and coding agents underway. At the same time, Meta entered the automated coding market directly, launching a public preview of Muse Code, an agentic tool that handles task planning, code generation, and validation across large enterprise codebases. The system is paired with Spark 1.2, an updated version of the flagship model focused on programming tasks and accessible through Muse Code and the Meta Model API. The lab's broader trajectory is tied tightly to Alexander Wang. Wang joined Meta roughly a year ago to lead the rebuilt labs, conducting what he later described as a zero-based build concentrated on talent density. In a Y Combinator interview during August 2026, Wang framed MSL's output as a counterweight to centralized AI, noting that the released Muse Spark 1, Muse Image, and version 1.1 deliver performance comparable to Opus-level models at nearly 8 times lower cost, and that a new harness framework for large-scale multi-agent orchestration is imminent. Meta will return to releasing some open-source models soon, Zuckerberg said on the call, but the portfolio will stay a mix of open and closed. Wang added a structural insight. Within Meta, once the right agentic feedback loops and evaluation metrics are in place, a swarm of agents can exceed the output of a 100-engineer team. The financial underlay is stark. Meta reported total revenue of $60.8 billion in Q2, up 28% year-over-year, but net income fell 14% to $15.8 billion because total expenses surged 55% to $42 billion, dragged by $2.4 billion in legal charges and $1.2 billion in severance from an 8,000 employee reduction in May 2026. For year 2026, expenses were guided to $169 billion, and capital expenditures narrowed to $145 billion, with free cash flow collapsing to just $784 million in the quarter. To help fund the infrastructure build-out, Meta announced a strategic venture with BlackRock to develop a 1-gigawatt data center in El Paso, Texas, describing it as part of the Meta compute effort and a model for future financing partnerships. On the revenue generation side, the linchpin for enterprise is a portfolio that spans business agents, the API, compute sales, and developer tools. Meta Business Agents became globally available on WhatsApp and Messenger this quarter, and more than 1 million businesses now use them weekly. A subsequent Meta Business Agent platform gives larger enterprises controls to build and deploy their own agents on WhatsApp, and Movida in Brazil reported a 44% increase in daily WhatsApp bookings after deploying one, with 85% of conversations resolved entirely by the AI agent. Zuckerberg noted on the call that Meta is fielding numerous offers to sell compute at a significant premium over cost, but framed the choice as a portfolio decision. Using compute to build intelligence compounds its value, so the company will sell compute when it makes sense while prioritizing the intelligence layer. Susan Lee, the CFO, added that near-term capacity is more valuable than long-term capacity, and that industry supply will remain tight for the foreseeable future. So maximizing 2026 and 2027 capacity is the near-term priority, with 2028 and beyond kept flexible. Next, world models and physical AI in China. A new front in the world model race opened in China, where Shanghai-based Feijik's intelligent technology raised several hundred million yuan in a Series A round announced in August 2026. Teta Science and Technology Investment co-led the round alongside Haesong Capital and Fuden Quechua, with a slate of new investors joining and existing backers such as Yunqi Partners and Matrix Partners, China adding to their positions. Feijix builds what it calls China's first full-stack, self-developed physical intelligence technology system, spanning 5 core products that run from a differentiable physics engine to a physical world model, explicitly targeting the physical illusion problem in embodied intelligence. CEO Zhang Lihua, a Fudan University professor and a core founder of NVIDIA's PHY's X-Physics simulation engine, leads a team drawn from Tsinghua, Peking, Fudan, and Shanghai Jiao Tong universities. The company also spearheaded the creation of China's first physical intelligence innovation consortium during the 2026 World Artificial Intelligence Conference, pulling together 32 universities, research institutes, companies, and investors. The information characterized world models as the key to unlocking breakthroughs in humanoids and autonomous vehicles in China, noting that Chinese neolabs believe the race remains wide open with no clear frontrunners, unlike the well-beaten path of large language models. And finally, people and leadership. Beyond Alexander Wang's dual role as the head of Meta Superintelligence Labs and a public voice for Meta's AI philosophy, Meta's Q2 call surfaced several personnel moves. Kunal Shah joined as the new head of WhatsApp. Zuckerberg described him as the builder of one of India's most important payment companies and predicted he would be a strong addition to the team. In the broader AI leadership landscape, Demis Hassabis stepped down as CEO of Google DeepMind to become chairman and chief scientist, while long-term Google chief scientist Jeff Dean departed with 3 other veterans to co-found a new AI startup, and DeepMind's technology chief Kore Kavakuroglu now assumes responsibility for all AI model development. That's all for this hour's briefings. You can help improve this broadcast by supporting patreon.com/mendiBot. Thanks to all our patrons listed here.